It don't feel too good to be on the other side. Now do it.
Time to blow it up.
So Marjorie Taylor-Greene was elected to Congress in 2020, and even before 2020, she was kind of hell. If I remember, one at one point she was chasing down the students of the Parkland mass shooting and was berating them. She was banging on AOC's office door, trying to talk to her and berating her. Then she became a congresswoman herself. Had her little spats with Jasmine Crockett. She was always a huge QAnon conspiracy theorist. One of her theories that I do remember is the Jewish space lasers causing wildfires. I don't understand why it had to be Jewish space lasers, but that's where we were. That was what she believed. She was also a huge proponent of the big lie in 2020. The big lie, that the election fraud lie. And just so much about this woman. I don't know where from 2020 to like mid to now, mid to end 2025, where like her mindset started to change. You know, she did get, like, I guess when you like block out all of the fanfare of what's being said and who's saying it and what's going on, you start to think a little more clearly about the stuff that's happening, right? We seen this, around the government shutdown, where she was doing her hobo tour, to tell people like, hey, the Democrats is right on this one. They should keep the government shut down because I have, constituents and people in my family that, medical premiums will rise if this resolution gets signed. So she was going around saying that, and now she's going around talking about the Epstein files, letting the Epstein files out. Her and Donald Trump had a thing going on. So after that, now it's being reported that she is planning to resign in January. But this is the Truth TV. I'm True Fisher. I got an article from the BBC to read. Let's get into it. So Marjorie Greene, being one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters, this is the article from the BBC. Trump ally Marjorie Taylor Greene to quit Congress after Epstein files feud. They had been going back and forth, beefing with each other, if you can even call it beefing, going back and forth all week about the Epstein files. And this is
I don't know what happened to
kind of
Marjorie. Nice woman,
a video
very
montage of
close to
what they
my
were saying.
namesake. But
I'm about to watch this video
I
real
have
quick.
to view the presidency as a worldwide situation, not locally.
Well, first of all, I haven't lost my way. I'm for the American people only. I'm America first, and I make no apologies about that to anyone.
Someone like Marjorie Taylor-Greene would say you're spending too much time overseas.
So, Marjorie Taylor-Greene is not anyway. I mean, she is a very different thinking than I have. Something happened to her over the last period of a month or two where she changed, I think, politically. I think that her constituents aren't going to be happy.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for.
Wacky Marjorie Trader Brown. Remember, now wait a minute. Wait a minute. Go back. Wacky Marjorie Trader Brown. Remember, green turns to brown when there is rot involved. Is that because of all of her own problems? Green turns brown. Oh, I guess he's referring to grass.
I was called a traitor
We live in
by a
weird
man that I
times.
fought for no, actually 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free, and he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition.
6.
Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me.
So they've been going back and forth. They was going back and forth all week. Let's get into this article. Marjorie Taylor-Greene has announced she will resign from office, an unexpected turn for the high-profile Republican. One of Donald Trump's MAGA superstars and staunchest defenders, the Georgia Congresswoman's relentless call for releasing files related to the PDF file, Jeffrey Epstein, and recent criticism of some of his politics led to a bitter public feud. After the U.S. president labeled her as a traitor, she said in a video announcing her departure, "I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better." See, when I said that it don't feel good to be on the other side, right? Because she sat and allowed MAGA in total, because she's MAGA, she's still going to be looked at as MAGA. She sat and allowed MAGA to berate and batter everybody out there, right? Through policies, through language, and oftentimes, through violence. She sat, allowed it, and she even co-signed some of it. But now that the shoe is on the other foot, she got to back away. She got to get away from it. You see, that's when folks be saying that these folks, they don't really care about what's going on until it affects them. They don't really care about what's going on until it affects them. Because when Donald Trump was shooting out memes and, making little funny jokes about everybody else, talking about Jasmine Crockett, low IQ and all this other stuff, I'm pretty sure she was back, having a good old funky laugh. You know what I mean? So I don't think, a lot of people is gonna, how do I put this? Is gonna feel bad for Marjorie. I don't think nobody feel bad for Marjorie in that feud they had going on. I was laughing. I was laughing. It was funny to me. Everything that's been going on in politics so far has been very funny to me, because black people have talked about things for so long and people always wrote us off. They always wrote us off. Now those things that black people have talked about for so long, it's coming to bite everybody else in the butt, and they're not liking it, and they don't know what to do about it. But this is the time we're living in right now. We have a president who is more in tune with, the tech oligarchs than with the regular people. Like you're seeing that every day, all right? Listen, Trump, who had threatened to support a Republican challenger to unseat Greene, called her resignation great news for the country in an interview with ABC News. For some reason, primarily that I refused to return her never-ending barrage of phone calls. Marjorie went bad, he later wrote on Truth Social. Nevertheless, I will always appreciate Marjorie and thank her for her service to our country. Now, I will say that woman probably wasn't blowing up his phone like he trying to make it seem. She probably called him once, probably called him twice. But we've all known Donald Trump, and we know he's an exaggerator. He likes to put 100 on 10 all the time. So she probably wasn't blowing his phone up. Now, I will say what she said is true. She has been, a big supporter of Donald Trump since like 2019. She's been all over it. So for this feud to be going on, I guess like she probably like let me back away from it. I remember the one time what the January 6th dude was like acting like he was in jail and she went over there and that video was funny. Oh man. Green said in her video statement posted on social media that she would leave the US Congress on January 5th, 2026. She said that she did not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms. So basically it sounds like that she didn't want to be in a losing party. The Republicans is probably gonna lose the midterms, which you know we know that. We know that the midterms is most definitely gonna swing back blue. Just based off of everything that happened with the shutdown, we know the midterms are swinging back blue. We don't even have to guesstimate or guess about that. We just know it is. So it sounds like it's not necessarily the feud, although that play a part. But it sounds like she see the writings on the wall that she's not gonna have much allyship in Congress, so she's trying to leave. That's what it seems like. She had been one of the loudest demanding the release of the documents related to Epstein. That's true. An issue that once united Trump and his fan base, but has since become divisive. I think it's only divisive now because all his fan base is now on the other side of his wrath, right? And that's because his fan base is still want them files to be out. His fan base still are talking about the files. Everybody in his cabinet is being hush hush about him because they know that he's in them files. And my thing is, did y'all really think that a man that is in so many photos with that guy, so many photos, would not be in those files? And this is not even just saying that he did anything. Like I'm not even saying that, right? I'm not saying he did anything, but just him being in the files, like he's gonna be there, right? And it's gonna be like a thing where he knew what was going on and decided not to stop it. I mean, didn't that leak say that he knew about them girls? So Trump has spent months arguing that the issue was a distraction concocted by his political detractors to divert attention from his administration's achievements. And what achievements so far is that? People are paying more at the grocery store, paying more at the pump. Folks can't afford a house, so much so that you just announced, what was it, 50-year mortgage. That's not going to work for everybody. That especially not the age of people that are actually buying houses. It's not going to work for them. That's more like debt till debt past your death. That's not going to work. So achievements, I'm not seeing much. You just had to roll back tariffs on, what was it, coffee, because people were complaining about that. You screwed over the farmers twice in a year, soybean farmers and beef farmers, to combat beef prices, because everybody's been complaining about beef prices. You say, hey, we're going to get beef from Argentina right after you gave them $40 billion. So I'm not necessarily understanding what particular achievements, is he talking about. But, there might be some out there. Say, standing up for American women who were raped at 14, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for, Greene said in her resignation letter. And I agree with that. I do agree with that. She shouldn't be called a traitor because she is doing something that I would say is not, isn't bad. She's not doing something at the will of Donald Trump. She shouldn't be called a traitor for that. Over the last few months, she has gone on a number of high-profile news shows and was critical of Trump and fellow Republicans. Yeah, she was. She was out there. She was talking. She was talking that talk, and it looks like now she's trying to walk that walk. But she's seeing that walking that particular walk, it's not for the faint of heart. If you want to walk that walk, you gonna have to be strong, because when you got the president of the United States, berating you and calling you things and making fun and poking at you and stuff like that, that does nothing but give his supporters, his base, a green light to do it as well. So you got that coming on to the other side is not for the faint of heart. Shit don't feel good. She took issue with the president not doing enough to bring down living costs for voters and criticized his policy of introducing tariffs on imports. But above all, she criticized his administration for not releasing documents related to Epstein. See, this is, once again, she's really, I can't say getting her wake up call or getting a wake up call, but she getting something. She done got something. Because I don't really think that she care much about, what's going on. I don't. I don't think I'm not gonna say I don't think she care much about what's going on, because she did, express care for, the situation with the shutdown, because everybody was in, like, right at the beginning of November, everybody started seeing those, getting those letters in the mail talking about their premiums were going to go up. A lot of people's premiums was going up from them paying 350 to now they got to pay 1,000 for just them. A lot of people's premiums was just going up that high. And she did, express concern for that, but the concern was expressed once she started to feel it. You see, once she started to like, feel like she was going to lose her seat because of it, she went on the hobo tour to try and make it seem like as if she was, yeah, I'm okay with this, that this isn't me doing this is them. It was like she's been trying to distance herself for the past couple of months from the Republicans, and it's been kind of interesting, to see how she's been trying to change up her stride, I guess. She's been towing the MAGA line, but also like dipping her toe into the, I guess, moderate side of the Republicans. I don't know what she's gonna do, but She did announce resignation, so won't really have to deal too much with her much then. I said, where did I leave off at? Trump responded last week in a series of social media posts calling Greene a traitor and wacky. He says she should be unseated and vowed to back a challenger for her place in Congress. Days after their feud boiled over, with a growing number of Republicans calling for their release, Trump reversed course and said he would support their publication. He signed a bill this week that forces the U.S. Justice Department to release the documents within 30 days. So didn't the government shut down? Wasn't the government shut down pretty much because of these Epstein files? Because if I'm not mistaken, oh boy, it wasn't that Mike Johnson wasn't trying to he wasn't trying to swear in a congresswoman, basically to keep these files from being forced out. Now Donald Trump is just like, you know what, F it, I'm gonna just sign. Well, I'm telling you, like I'm dealing with Donald Trump. They probably don't know what they got to do, man. At this point, see. Greene was elected to Congress in 2020 amid a backdrop of headlines over her support and promotion of QAnon conspiracies, including claiming school shootings and the 9/11 terror attacks were staged. She has since apologized and sought to distance herself from those comments. And I don't know, you really just can't make much of this up at this point. In the video announcing her resignation, Greene ticked off a list of political achievements. She noted in her resignation letter that the comments from Trump were hurtful. So she says that Donald Trump's comments are hurtful. Go and ask Jasmine Crockett how hurtful Donald Trump's comments can be. Go and ask AOC how hurtful Donald Trump's comments can be. Donald Trump's comments are only hurtful to her because she used to be so close with Donald Trump. Hell, she defended him on everything for the past 6 years. That's why the comments are hurtful. It's almost like these comments are coming from a family member, right? Outside comments from people that's outside of your circle, you can usually deal with, right? But when it feels like it's coming from somebody close to you, yeah, they hurt a little more. Also, the Democrats might win, might get the majority next year in the midterms. Well, I'm not gonna say might. I'm pretty sure the Democrats are gonna get the majority. That's almost kind of a given. That's like a layup. If the Democrats don't end up with the majority, I would be confused. So she knows there's not going to be much, protection in the House because they won't have the majority. So she's getting out, before that happens. Donald Trump and her having their thing, she's getting out before Donald Trump finds a way to pick at her at every chance that he gets because she's still sitting in that seat. See, she knows Donald Trump, right? She just does not have the wherewithal to stand up to him and stand firm with him. Because Donald Trump has been going back and forth with AOC and Jasmine Crockett for a long time. And they still there. Marjorie, she don't have that chutzpah, I guess. But thank you all for watching my video. If y'all can give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell because I know this is only my first video, but there will be more to come. Also, with your comments, I want to know, do you think her resignation is a good thing or a bad thing? And let me know why. Peace.
The Truth TV. Subscribe, like, and comment.